So you have personal OKRs, kid OKRs, which is great, customer OKRs. How do you keep track of all this? Do you run a couple different Excel sheets? Is there some awesome technology out there that I don't know about that you can plug all this data into? How do you keep it all straight and measure it and remember to measure it?
Yeah, look, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, there are some really awesome technology platforms that have been designed and built specifically for tracking OKRs, which is really cool. I messed around with them. I've actually been invited to be on an advisory board for one of them at one point.
Very cool.
But, truthfully, you can also accomplish it in a spreadsheet, right? A Google Sheet works just as well, right? Because if you can, feel free to share it with the various folks in your team or your family members or even customers, depending on privacy and whatnot, security protocols. But by doing that, I think that one of the key things about OKRs is that it's very visible and transparent to everybody who it's affecting. So being able to do it in a Google Sheet, I think, has worked really well for us as well.
Yeah, no need to overcomplicate something if it's works perfectly that. And I like what you said about transparency. So you'll share openly all of the OKRs with anyone on your team, I assume, and then you'll also kind of see the OKRs for people on teams above you or more at the higher level, I guess.
Absolutely.
I think that transparency is key. That's good. Yeah. I mean, that way people know where the organization is going and they can really feel a part of it. And so I like that. Yeah. All right, so let's switch gears quickly because I know we have some time constraints here, and this is also something that I'm really interested in is the metaverse, and you're interested in real estate within the metaverse. So super high level, and I know this is going to be a crazy concept for a lot of people out there, but people are buying real estate in a virtual world.
That's right.
Tell us more about that. Like, what's the industry? Where's your head at? Where do you see it going? I even saw that people are designing sneakers for the metaverse.
That's tip
so you can buy sneakers in the metaverse. So
tip of the iceberg. Look, I think that I could talk about this for all day long, right? And I usually get to work on this on nights and weekends, right? After sometimes the kids are asleep and customers are happy, right? That's number one. But nights and weekends when we can do that, I think diving into this space is so exciting to me because it's what's gonna be around the next 10, 20, 30 years, right?
Yeah.
To not be so cliche. I mean, I read the book Ready Player One, like the first time it was out, right? And
that's where I keep going. That's
right. And it was just so enthralling to me. And then obviously the movie came out, and then he wrote the second book, which I thought was incredible. I don't know if you read the second, Ready Player Two. That was incredible. And just it's almost like the playbook for where this is all going, right? In a lot of ways. And so anyway, super exciting. I think the blockchain has unlocked the ability to make it a reality, right? Before blockchain, I think it was almost a pipe dream. It was kind of this cool thing that maybe one day happens in the future. Now with blockchain, it's real, right? It can really happen. But look, to your point, I mean, what is it, right? It's effectively going onto these platforms that are things like Decentraland, right? Things like the Sandbox, and there's many others, of varying degrees of popularity. And effectively owning, right? Like think of it as like a certificate of authenticity. Like I'm going to own, this piece of a virtual plot of land. And that gives you certain entitlements. It gives you certain rights. And right now, today, people think, well, if you go to the Decentraland or Sandbox and you look at what you can do with it, you can build games on it, right? You can lease it out, right, to different developers, right? They can build games on it. So that maybe you get paid a little bit of like a tenant fee. But I think for me, what's exciting about all this is, looking now to like the next evolution of this, right? So now you have all these disparate, platforms, if you will, right, of metaverse, right? And I'm talking about things like roadblocks, right? Our kids, I don't know about your kids, but my kids play Roblox a lot, right?
Okay. No.
Minecraft, you kind of name it, you go through these different type of platforms that you have an avatar and you're able to explore and interact with this world. Like that's really cool. But what's going to happen when there is going to be some, open source centralized, API that connects all these platforms together, right? So your avatar or those shoes that you bought, right, are somehow able to then be transferred from Decentraland to Roblox and back again into every other, world that it's going to happen, right? And when that type of interoperability becomes real, I think is when all of this really starts to explode. The other side I think I'll say is that, again, looking to the future, you look at some of these platforms and now you have platforms that are effectively overlaying the real world. So, you know, you go into New York City, Times Square, there's these platforms that are overlaying with, you know, NFTs, right? You can own an area of the real world in the metaversal space. And think about what's going to happen right now. You think, oh, hey, cool, you know, I own, you know, whatever, a portion of Times Square, right? There's probably not too much that can happen today. But in the future, when everyone has, you know, the contact lenses or, you know, the low profile glasses that are now viewing the world in, you know, with the superimposed kind of AR, and it's seamless, where it's not like you're wearing these Google glasses.
Right.
You know, it's like the size of this and you can't get through a
doorway. You can still walk around,
But when you almost can't tell, like when I can't tell you're wearing something that's going to superimpose the future into your line of sight, think about what that does. Now, if you own a piece of, say, Times Square in this metaversal space, you're going to have advertisers coming to you to say, look, this is a really important platform. We want to advertise here. You clearly own it, right? Like, we're going to have to pay you now to put our advertisement in AR in this space because you own it, right? And it's so early that it's almost wonky to even think about, but it's coming.
It's going to be, I'm with you. I'm right there with you. It's going to be there. And if people don't, I don't know if I want to take this leap, but if you don't get comfortable with it now, or at least kind of understand the, you know, the 50,000 foot view of what it is, you know, you could kind of get left behind. I mean, it's a major thing coming.